story of what's happening in Benghazi. They're ignoring 4 years of economic and domestic failures. They're ignoring America's position in the foreign policy world. And they're hoping,
ignoring the fact that there has not been a balanced budget in.
They
have not offered a balanced budget for
the
years.
Budget in the past 3 years, and the world is going up in flames. They're pretending it's not happening, and the president does not have an agenda that he has laid out for the next 4 years, and they're ignoring that too. So there's the ones who are discouraged and they're switching sides, the ones who are discouraged and they're staying home, and then there's the ones who they don't care. Those are the elitists. The elitists are doubling down. The elitists are not changing their minds.
I guarantee you the czars, what are there, like 6,000 czars now, right?
How many czars do we have?
57, 58.
5,285.
57 seems to be their magic number for this administration, right?
Every czar has secretly refreshed their resumes, and they're starting to put them in the send. They're ready to hit the send button to about 20 different companies. And that's a sad case. Hey,
I bet they made their money and they looted this country the whole time they were in their positions, and they don't have to work and they don't have to send out their resumes.
That's very possible. Very possible. Mark, let's, before we finish here, we got about a minute or two. What other newspapers were flipping around there?
Well, we were just.
This is an important barometer.
The big ones were,
it's a sign.
It's more of the pattern of what you're noticing is, like I said before earlier, it is that all of them are who were Republican are now back to, are Republican, and the ones who were Democrat are flipping. There is no other flip the other way. It's the pattern. And even these progressive leftist papers are going, like the Tennessean, the Orlando Sentinel, the Tampa Bay.
Tennessean?
The Tennessean. Which
in Nashville. That's a Gannett publication.
And what's interesting is what they're keying on as far as their subject material. Is like, well, I'm sure people have read this, but I'll just read this little quote out from the Sun Sentinel today. Is brush away all the rhetoric, all the vitriol, all the divisiveness from the presidential campaign.
Divisiveness.
It's divisiveness. He pronounces it wrong. It's divisiveness. Go look it up.
Okay, go ahead.
Our president is an ignorant person when it comes to that word. Okay. To most Americans, the only one thing matters: the economy. 4 years into Barack Obama's presidency, economic growth is sputtering, family incomes are down, poverty is up, business owners are reluctant to assume risk in the faces of unending uncertainty. Many are holding on by their fingernails, desperate for signs of an economic recovery that will help them provide for themselves, their employees, and their customers, and their communities. When President Obama came in to 2009, the economy was in free fall, and though unlisted, he inspired us with a promise of hope and change. Now, 4 years later, we have little reason to believe he can turn things around. So while we endorsed Obama in 2008, we recommend voters choose Republican Mitt Romney on November 6, 2012.
Wow, that is pretty astonishing news. And the news, ladies and gentlemen, as you're watching TrentoVision.tv and listening on WNN 1470 here in Boca Raton, the news in the past hour was simply that some significant left-leaning newspapers that 4 years ago not just endorsed President Obama, but fell over in the celebratory endorsement and coronation of the new global leader who they thought would take the United States. We were all going, "Are you people crazy?
He's going to tame
this guy's
the tides
a phony.
of the oceans.
Oh
Come
my
on.
God! Yeah, he would change the tides of the oceans and do all of this. And we'll talk more about that because I was in Paris, France, the day. I was in The Hague in the Netherlands, and then Paris, the day of the inauguration, and the Parisians and the Europeans were bowing down, as was the Sun Sentinel and the Orlando Sentinel. But they wised up. The Orlando Sentinel last week endorsed Mitt Romney, and today the Sun Sentinel endorsed Mitt Romney. Stay with us. We're going to take a little break. We're going to be back, and we'll clean all of this up and rock and roll in the last hour of Trento Vision. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Thanks for tuning in to Trento Vision, where bad ideas get pulverized and the truth will set you free. Your host, Tom Trento, is an activist street fighter with earned degrees in law enforcement, theology, and philosophy. To reach Tom, call 561-319-5533, 561-319-5533, or email him at tom@trentovision.com. Tune in again weekdays at 2 p.m. on AM 1470 WNN.
The opinions expressed on the preceding sponsored program were strictly those of its hosts, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of the station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
This is Steve Kane for Laytite Roofing. For most of us who are homeowners, our house is perhaps our most valuable asset, and there is nothing that's more of a threat to that asset than Florida's rainy season. And let's face it, folks, rainy season is upon us. Look at your ceilings, look at your walls. If you see water stains, the time has come for you to pick up the phone and dial 1-800-NEW-ROOF. Speak to the good folks at Laytite Roofing. Since 1943, the professionals at Laytite have been successfully servicing the roofing needs of South Floridians. Why has Laytite been so successful through the years? It's simple. It's that they use the finest materials and they never, ever use subcontractors. That means when you call 1-800-NEW-ROOF, you know that only experienced Laytite employees will be working on your roof from start to finish. No wonder Laytite Roofing is the largest and most successful roofing company in South Florida. Call Laytite 1-800-NEW-ROOF or laytite.com. Tell them Steve Kane sent you.
Now more than ever is a great time to look back at where we've been and to salute our senior community. It was their vision and hard work that paved the way for all we have today. Let's celebrate their achievements and share their hope for a bright tomorrow. That's from Palm City Nursing and Rehabilitation Center, offering a full professional staff, 24-hour care, special diets, recreation, rehabilitation, and reasonable rates. They are devoted to caring. Call 772-288-0060. That's 772-288-0060. That's Palm City Nursing and Rehabilitation Center, on the air because they care.
Men, if you have erectile dysfunction, it can rob you of your sex life, destroy your confidence, and dampen your lust for life. At Boston Medical Group, we've been successful in helping men like you for over 15 years. Here's what our patients are saying.
My life is back, and so am I. Thanks a million.
Boston Medical Group is truly a lifesaver.
You have changed my life dramatically for the better.
Using only FDA-approved medications, Boston Medical Group's treatment is individually formulated to treat your specific condition. It's effective in 98% of men, regardless of what has caused your ED, and you'll see results in just one visit. Live again. Call Boston Medical Group. Schedule your consultation now and get a free guide to overcoming ED and a $250 gift certificate for our treatment program. 800-329-3400. One 5-minute call could change your life. That's 800-329-3400. 800-329-3400. Boston Medical Group, the world's #1 choice in men's sexual health.
This is Health and Wealth Radio, AM 1470, WWNN Pompano Beach, and WKIS HD3, Boca Raton, Miami, Fort Lauderdale.
400 miles southeast of Charleston, South Carolina, with top winds that are just barely at hurricane strength, but it's projected to hit the Atlantic coast early Tuesday and blend with the winter storm. Massachusetts Energy Secretary Richard Sullivan says plans have already been made to ensure power is restored quickly to critical facilities.
We have very good lists of nursing homes and hospitals and the higher importance community buildings that are necessary to make sure are lit up quickly and have power.
Forecasters say most of the East Coast will almost certainly get gale force winds, flooding, heavy rain, and maybe some snow. Mitt Romney has started outlining his closing argument for voters by focusing on how to revive the economy. AP correspondent Sagar Magani reports.
On a day the government reported the economy grew at a slightly faster rate last quarter, Romney said it's no time to stick with failed financial policies.
It's time for new, bold changes that measure up to the moment.
Telling an Iowa crowd the president has no proposals to meet the challenges of the times. In what his campaign billed as a significant economic address, Romney did not unveil any specifics while repeating earlier promises.
Former New Hampshire Governor John Sununu is backing away from his suggestion that fellow Republican Colin Powell endorsed Barack Obama because both men are black. President Obama tells the Michael Smerconish program Powell's endorsement stands on its own.
Any suggestion that General Powell would make such a profound statement in such an important election based on anything than what he thought was what's going to be best for America, I think doesn't make much sense.
Powell endorsed Obama this week on CBS while noting that while difficult choices are ahead on taxes, spending, and other issues, the U.S. has begun to come out of its economic dive. Journalism without agenda. This is America's Radio News.
Did you know that snoring might be evidence of a disease process that could reduce lifespans by as much as 20%? Did you also know that a weak or receding jawline is not necessarily a genetic trait, but rather evidence of a disease process that is not only detrimental to appearance, but overall health? This same weak or receding jawline often produces sleep apnea, snoring, and other health effects that can reduce lifespans by up to 20%. Well, there is good news. There's now a rare, non-invasive procedure where a strong jawline can be reclaimed and a whole series of health benefits along with it. To learn more about this amazing restoration process, go to fixjaws.com and watch a 5-minute video that can change your appearance and your life. That's fixjaws.com or call 1-855-FIX-JAWS. That's 1-855-FIX-JAWS. Call now.
Charges have not yet been filed against a nanny accused of stabbing 2 young children to death in their Manhattan apartment. The nanny then stabbed herself but survived. Neighbor Rima Starr says she'll never forget the screams of the children's mother who discovered the dead children.
The screaming never stopped from the beginning to the end. That was, for me, the most horrendous part, that the screaming never stopped. It was way over an hour and a half that the screaming never stopped.
The nanny is hospitalized in critical condition. A car bomb has exploded in Damascus on the first day of a holiday ceasefire. State Department spokeswoman Victoria Nuland.
We're obviously appalled and saddened by the reported car bomb today in Damascus. It took place right near a children's playground. We're obviously seeking more information on the attack.
Syria's state-run news agency says the bombing killed at least 5 people and wounded more than 30, including children. Texas State Police say the trooper who fired from a helicopter at a pickup truck carrying illegal immigrants was trying to disable the speeding vehicle. 2 people were killed and 2 were wounded in the gunfire yesterday on an isolated road along the Mexican border. Police say the truck appeared to be carrying drugs and was traveling at reckless speed. 8 people were arrested, including 7 illegal immigrants from Guatemala. Indiana leads the way in the Associated Press preseason college basketball poll. AP correspondent Jack Briggs reports.
The Associated Press Top 25 preseason basketball poll is out, and the top team is Indiana. This marks the 3rd time the Big Ten school has been tabbed preseason number 1, and first time since 79-80. Indiana received 43 first-place votes from the national media panel. Louisville and Kentucky, the teams ranked 2nd and 3rd, received the rest. Ohio State and Michigan join Indiana as Big Ten teams in the top 5. The last time a conference had 3 teams in the preseason top 5 was 2008-9, when the Big East was so honored. This is Jack Briggs.
The National Hockey League labor dispute has now forced the cancellation of all games through the end of November. Your first stop for breaking news. This is America's Radio News.
When it comes to your health, nobody does it better. South Florida's Health and Wealth Radio, AM 1470, WNN.
The opinions expressed on the following sponsored program are strictly those of the host, guests, and callers, and not necessarily those of this station, its staff, management, or sponsors.
Welcome to Trento Vision, where bad ideas get pulverized and the truth will set you free. Trento Vision is hosted by Tom Trento, an activist street fighter with earned degrees in law enforcement, theology, and philosophy. Listen and watch every weekday on AM 1470 WNN and TrentoVision.com. Now, let's take a peek at Tom's view of the world. Here's Tom Trento.
Yeah, okay. How many people out there in television land and radio land?
Oh, you're in the background.
How many people... What are you saying, Mark?
No, go ahead.
How many people out there in digital land lock your cars? When you park your car, how many of you actually lock your cars? Raise your hands.
Not while you're driving, please.
No, just one hand. Drive with your left hand, and no.
No.
We are tied in here at WNN 1470. We're tied into the grid. We're part of the NSA grid, and we can see in our studios all the CCTV cameras in the world. And we can see you as you're driving on 95. We want to raise.
We know who you are.
Open your window, your driver's side window. Raise your hand if you lock. There, it's everybody. Everybody locks their car. Well, good afternoon. You're on TrentoVision.tv with Tom Trento, CJ, and J. Mark, the disembodied voice. Someday we will let you actually see maybe part of him. But
show his feet.
We're here wonderfully every day for 3. Show his beak. We're here wonderfully every day for 3 hours. We moved. Did we start this week? When did we move? No, it was on the. What day did we move? From 2 to whatever it was.
Tuesday?
Was it Tuesday? Yeah, I think it was. In any event, it's been a blast. We love the 3 hours being with you. You're just such a wonderful audience. And we were at 2 to 3. We moved from 3 to 6 to spend a little more time with you dealing with national security issues. And we have a theme for each show. Here, we'll give you the inside skinny, okay? We have a theme for each show. For instance, yesterday's show was the theme, Is President Obama a Friend of Israel? And then we have 3 acts. We're producing a play, if you will. We have 3 acts. And we heard from a public policy woman, Carolyn Glick, whom we've been teasing that we would hear more about today, and we will in a little bit. Then in the second hour, we heard the Judaic answer from an Orthodox rabbi. Is President Obama a friend of Israel? Our good friend, Rabbi John Hausman, up in Boston. And then the third hour, we heard from our friend over in Israel, a former IDF and national security counterterrorism expert, Mark Kohlberg. And he was in our third hour yesterday. And then last night, all of us went to hear Carolyn Glick speak at the Boca Raton Synagogue. And full disclosure, our team here, you have a Christian, you have a Jew, and you have a, how would you classify yourself, disembodied voice?
God.
You have a...
I think he's a mother...
A seeker. You have a seeker. Let's do a seeker.
Truth, the seeker of truth.
A Mother Earth worshiper?
So the 3 of us here disagree on theological systems, have some unanimity, sort of some basic beliefs, but in the particulars there's disagreement.
And yet we have not killed each other.
We have not killed each other.
Our commonality is the Constitution, America's exceptionalism, our support for Israel. Israel's the 51st star, and that's where we unify on.
And that's a non-Jew saying that from a national security perspective. So an inside look into Trento Vision and the team. And our United West group, about 20 other activist key people, same sort of makeup, Christians, Jews, atheists.
Oh, we have some very nice Hindus who are with us.
Got Hindus that are with us.
Yeah.
And there is the occasional Muslim who is non-Sharia compliant.
Or is a former Muslim.
Or a lot of former Muslims working with us, for sure. But that's kind of the composition of the team from which you hear some of this information. So yesterday we addressed, is President Obama a friend of Israel? And in particular, that's an important topic for the 500,000 Jewish folks and others that are in this demographic in the listening area of WNN 1470. And today our topic was, or is, Stormy Activist Friday. I got my stormy shirt on. The wind is blowing. It's a beautiful day, really. I'm looking outside at the sun. I think this was a scam. I think these news
Well,
these.
It's sunny and black and windy at the
Yeah,
same time.
but it's, I mean.
Yeah, we did. We went outside for a weather check
How
during
was
the
it?
break.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's windy, gusty.
It's really
But it's
windy.
very
Saying a
nice
hurricane.
over at the Orlando Sun Sentinel right now, and at the all the liberal leftist papers.
Yeah, it's nice over there because they're supporting Mitt Romney, basically. Our raison d'etre, ladies and gentlemen, we've made no bones about this, is to persuade you based upon an analysis of the facts to recognize that President Obama needs to be defeated, if for nothing else, on national security issues. The economy is a no-brainer. This national security and foreign policy stuff gets a little nuanced and complicated. We are meandering through there with our expertise, but you don't need to be an expert to look at Benghazi. Sons of Ghazi, war. Sons of war, city of holy warriors. Benghazi provided more jihadis to kill Americans in Iraq than any other locale on the face of the earth. This administration knew about that. Next week, we'll get into more details on Benghazi. You got to watch the Fox Report Saturday, Sunday, Brett Baer. Benghazi, a story of deceit and tragedy. Watch that. But I asked you at the outset, you ready with a little thing? I asked you at the outset if you lock your car. And I want to talk to my leftist, liberal brothers and sisters for a second. Do you lock your car, folks? Think about this. Whenever you have to resolve or understand complicated issues, it's always good to go from the micro to the macro, okay? Get a little, I used to teach at a graduate level all kinds of different things, and I would form my own country. I would have students form a country. I'd say, okay, let's all get together here. We're going to form our own country, and then get 10 people together and go, okay, now what, folks? How do we make this thing work? A fascinating little experiment, but if you can establish...
We actually saw that happen down at the Occupy movement. It was quite fascinating.
Yeah, they have actually the Occupy movement where we have infiltrated several times in different parts of the country, gone in and done some investigation into the Occupy movement. Back last October, almost a year to the date. Oh, my God.
That's right, we forgot about that.
It was the 28th of October last year, 2 days.
And we were the first to report on the jihadi influence inside there that was running these things. And
that was
everybody called us crazy, and then we showed them video, and then it started popping all over the country.
We should play that. You know what? Maybe. That was the 15th, I think, of October. Right. But on the 28th of October, myself and 2 others went to Chicago, the hometown of President Obama, and we infiltrated a communist meeting. Okay, I dressed up as a truck driver from New Jersey. I didn't shave for a few days.
You went as you are.
You went as yourself, right?
I used to be a truck driver from New Jersey. It wasn't that difficult.
That's right.
But I was in costume, so to speak, and I was wired. We had some people wired with cameras and all of that. We went to the Midwest Marxist Conference at DePaul University in downtown Chicago. I spent a day with about 120 dyed-in-the-wool Marxists. We're not talking socialists. We're not even talking, kind of doctrinaire people. We're talking card-carrying Marxist communists, educators, union people, the whole thing. I got inside footage of all of this that we should play. Maybe.
Yeah, right.
We went in for a whole day, and in fact, that evening they had a Halloween party, and I partied with communists last Halloween in downtown Chicago. It was a blast. It was an absolute blast. But in that experience, I asked one of their leading intellectual academics, who's been doing this for 50 years and written all these books. I went up to him as he was signing books, and I went in my New Jersey. Hey, I got a question for you. A little bit in character. I said, well, my friends, my relatives and all that, they think I'm nuts, that I'm looking into Marxism, and, I'm a union guy, and I said, and they tell me, America's the best place, America. I'm going, no, America's got problems, there's better places. But I can never, now I'm talking to the communist guy, right, the author. I said, Mike, I can't answer these people. Tell me, what am I supposed to tell my friends and my relatives when they say America's the best place? what do I tell them? What's our best place as communists? What's our best place as Marxists? Guess what he told me? This is a guy, 50 years this guy's been teaching Marxism all over the world. He was an Indian, from India, not from the Navajo tribes.
Let's go down the list. Canada?
No. What he said was this. Well, the best place in the world is really America. He said,
Alan.
I said, huh? He said, the best place in the world is America. I go, what are you talking about? I thought we're Marxists. He goes, well, we haven't gotten the system quite in place yet. He goes, but there is in not Venezuela, but in Brazil, he said, they're doing great work taking oil money and providing social services for the needy. This is a 50-year academic who's written books, and I asked him to point to the epitome of successful Marxism articulated in some social milieu. And he pointed to a program in Brazil, but he said America is the best place to live. If any of you people even play with the concept of socialism vis-a-vis this administration, you are out of your freaking mind. You understand that? It makes no intellectual sense. It makes no logical sense. It makes no psychological sense. All right? But going from the micro to the macro. Watch where we're going. Who's on the line?
We have Alan.
Our Alan? Yeah, he's going to report on something very interesting. Hang in there, Alan, if you can hear me. I want to lead into something here. We're talking about the leftist mindset and trying to explain why you need to rethink this. If you lock your car, and you all do, the presupposition is that somebody's going to steal something out of your car. So your viewpoint is that there are people that will steal from me. Well, if that's true, then what does that say about those people? Are they only stealing from you because they don't like you? Are they only stealing from you because you have more than them? Why are they stealing? And when you do the studies, I have a degree in law enforcement. We used to do these studies. People steal for a whole bunch of reasons because people are evil. They're evil. They're either predisposed toward evil or they become evil in their activity at a given moment. That's why we have locks on cars, locks on doors, police. That's why we have a military. That's why it's a dangerous world. And when you extrapolate from the micro, locking your car door, to the macro, military defense on a global scale, you go, okay, if there's a lot of evil people out there, then I may have to be brutal and lethal and vicious in the protection of the rights and civilians and military people of the United States of America. This administration doesn't view the world that way. As Peter Feynman said, they believe in the greater good, everybody's good. If everybody has not only an equal opportunity, but equal resources, you would never need locks on your car door. If you believe that, we have a bridge to sell you
If you
very
believe
shortly.
that, you're living in Twinkle City. You're not living in the real world.
And you have to take these philosophies and apply them in the real world basis. But if this stuff troubles you, whenever it troubles me, I always go back to 1980 and Joan.
Okay, we have two Allens on the line.
Miss Joan Baez, ladies and gentlemen. All together now. Joni Baez, 1980, ladies and gentlemen. I'm feeling better about the world already. One more time. No, that's it. Get rid of Joni Baez, okay? No, that's enough. That's enough. I'm dying here. I'm dying. Cut her out. Oh my God, Joan Baez, 1980. If you think you can Joan Baez your way out of the difficulties in this world today, then you don't know Alan Kornman. Hey, Alan, what's up?
I'm glad to be here.
Hey, thanks for holding, Alan.
Did you hear a little bit of Joni Baez there?
Oh, it brought tears to my eyes, and then I upchucked my lunch. Yes.
Well, just for the record, Alan came back about a week ago from a trial in Dearborn. This is Alan Kornman, one of our intrepid investigative reporters and videographers. He came back from a trial in Dearborn, Michigan. You see, a year ago, Alan was attacked by Muslims in Dearborn, Michigan, because he was carrying around a video camera, videotaping a public event at the Arab Festival in downtown Dearborn, Michigan. And the Muslims there didn't like Alan being there, so they spit on him, pushed him, struck him, all this sort of stuff. And we're going to report this story in detail, but it was a year of work on Alan's part to get the city to prosecute these two Muslim guys, and he stuck in there, and he let's give Alan a hand for sure. He stuck in there and bravely went back by himself last week and testified against this Muslim attacker in the courtroom in Dearborn, Michigan, and the Muslim attacker was found guilty, as was the other one. Two of them attacked him. He pleaded out a few months back. But, Alan, you did a phenomenal job, and we need a big report on that story. Not today, another time, though. But I wanted the folks to know a little bit about this brutal world we live in. So, why are you calling us today?
Well, I just wanted to call and say that I am enjoying the show. This 3-hour format is phenomenal. Gives you the opportunity to get into the issues in greater depth like no other program on the AM airwaves. Phenomenal work.
What's your take on the Benghazi thing that we talked about earlier with Ambassador Stevens and the time lapse that after they called in, there's that 2-hour window for responders to respond, and yet they never showed up, and Barack Obama went to bed on it. And can you comment on that?
Well, yeah, this story is gaining a lot of steam as more and more news is coming out. This whole episode was bumbled because, first off, why was Chris Stevens there? He had just met with the Turkish, one of the Turkish dignitaries on 9/11. Why was he even there? That is the question that's really not being asked.
Yeah, all the other diplomats,
Mike Rogers and Tom Ridge that at the debate.
Yeah, especially when you consider every other diplomatic corps left, even the British left, because they just had an attack on them. The French had left; they were the last ones. Why were they there? That's a good question. Great question, Alan.
Glenn Beck has taken the lead on saying that there's possible gun running issues or trying to track weapons that got into or possibly could have gotten into the hands of the extremists. But what we never hear from the mainstream press is, who are these extremists? Now, we know that it is Ansar al-Sharia, which is a same thing as Al-Qaeda, just a different name. Same thing as the Muslim Brotherhood, just a different name. Their ideologies are the same. The only thing separating these three groups is their tactics. And
wow,
that's what's going on.
All right, it's 24 after the hour, ladies and gentlemen. You're on with Tom Trento, Trento Vision, WNN 1470. If you're just, it is getting dark out there, isn't it?
Yep.
If you're just tuning in.
There's a storm coming.
We are your people from 3 to 6 every day, drive time in South Florida, on iHeartRadio anywhere in the world. Or if you want to watch on your smartphones or your computers, TrentoVision.tv, and you can actually watch this insanity taking place. We have J. Mark in the studio here, CJ. We have Alan calling from wherever on the phone, and I want to bring Scott in for a quick question. Then we're going to go to Iran in a second, which may have a role in Libya, but we heard some stuff last night we're going to deal with about Iran. Scott from Boca, are you there?
I'm there, Tom. Thanks for having me on.
Hey, how you doing, man? Is this?
I'm having fun. I just finished my show, and now I'm listening to you.
Oh, excellent. Well, we want a report on it's Stormy Activist Friday Day, and you're on the ground fighting the battles. Tell us what's going on with your work informing and educating the voters of South Florida.
Well, my work is not that. My work is I run an advertising agency. We do digital. We build websites and we do digital.
Oh, I thought you were a different Scott. Okay.
No, he said he just finished his show. I want to know what it
is. He sounds like Scott Spages.
That's what I thought he was.
We have a Scott who calls in every Friday to give us a report. Now, who are you? Who the heck am I talking to?
I'm a long-time listener.
Okay. What show do you have?
I have the digital power hour from 3 to 4 on 740 WSBR on the other side. Of the
we're like homies. We're homies together.
You're right. We're like from the same mother there.
You got it, man.
You were there last night at the Boca Raton Temple. What'd you think of that?
Well, we're gonna talk about that right now.
You lowered the age.
What's
you
that?
You lowered the age. I think you even wore a yarmulke.
I had a yarmulke on.
Dressed appropriately, but you're close.
When in Rome, you know, I'm sensitive.
Okay.
Yes, I did lower the age, and for the listeners and viewers, Boca Raton Synagogue may have a little bit of a senior kind of population there.
But they vote.
Well, I mean, it's good that they're involved.
They are. You know what? It was stormy and windy, and those folks came out with their walkers and everything.
The place
God
was
bless
packed.
them.
The place
It
was
was
packed.
packed. There were hundreds of people there.
There's a Yiddish term for that, Hazarai. There were no walkers. I mean, there was prune juice at the refrigerator.
Yeah, right.
Not nice. Ageism. I call ageism.
I have to tell you, I went with a friend of mine who you might know, Michael Ackerman, recommended I go.
Yes.
Yes, we do. We spoke with him
To be
after.
honest with you, it should have been advertised as a paid political speech for Netanyahu. I thought the girl, regardless of her credentials, presented a very one-sided, emotionally based argument with no facts. I left there. She left me with the impression that she knows more than the former heads of Mossad, the acting generals of the IDF, and everybody else in the world. Now, I have a son in the U.S. Navy who's in the submarine corps, and he says that if they want to target anything anywhere, it doesn't take 6 to 8 months like she was telling us last night.
I would agree with you when she said, now for the listeners and viewers, Carolyn Glick spoke there, and we told everybody who Carolyn Glick is.
Well, I don't know who she is, to be honest with you.
Well, she's a scholar. She's graduate of Columbia, graduate of Harvard, was in the IDF. Was in
W graduated Harvard, too.
Who did?
W in Rodney.
Yeah, well, there you go. Yeah, there you go. Yeah, there you go. And she was in the IDF. She was an intelligence officer in the IDF. And then she did a deployment as an advisor to Netanyahu. She's like 40 years old, 41 years old. I mean, she's like...
Yeah, I also tell you, I know a lot of Israelis, having lived in Avatar. Every Israeli I met works for the IDF for the Shin Ben, so I think I have a grain of salt.
Yeah, well, you shouldn't with her because her credentials check out. But notwithstanding that, that's verifiable, her credentials. The question is the content of her speech. When she said what you're referring to, she basically came to warm everybody up for an Israeli attack and to get America to support Israel. That's why she was there. It was pretty obvious. When she said that if Obama gets reelected, and let me ask you this, are you an Obama or Romney guy? Full disclosure, we're Romney guys.
I'm voting for Obama. I believe that there should be separation of church and state, and I don't believe Romney believes that because he has a nominee for vice president who says religion is more important than civil law.
Okay. That's your...
I don't think that's reasonable. I think that's a serious threat to our liberty and our Constitution.
You think that's a bigger threat than Iran getting the bomb?
I'm scared.
Yeah, that obviously there's...
John Kennedy was a Catholic. He never let that influence his devotion to the Constitution. Paul Ryan obviously doesn't believe in the Constitution.
All right, now, how many years has Paul Ryan been in Congress?
How many years? Over 10.
Yeah, 14. And what can you point to in his 14 years? Where has he crossed the line of church and state as an elected official?
He's on record. I have the videotape. He was interviewed, I'm trying to remember who, on Fox News by Chris Wallace, and he said he is against abortion because his religion dictates that life begins at conception, and therefore he has authored numerous bills, some with no exceptions, and some with no exception, and all with no exceptions for rape. So that's where he crosses the line, because I respect everyone's right to their freedom of religion, but don't tell me how to believe based upon how you believe.
Okay, we want you to keep talking because you are making our point so well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm always happy to help fellow DJ.
Thank you for making our point.
Thank you, thank you.
Tell him, do you believe in separation of church and
What's
state?
the worst thing to do with the state?
I don't know why that's funny. I find that really sad that people are laughing. I'm asking a legitimate question.
Well, it's humorous because you're an intelligent guy, and you've picked the shibboleth, if you will, the nexus for many leftist Democrats, abortion.
What's that? Not abortion. I'm not talking about abortion.
Yeah, you are. You're the one who brought it
I'm
up.
talking about freedom of religion. Excuse me.
What's abortion got to do with religion?
Dictating to me how I should observe how my religious beliefs should be.
Well, what does abortion have to do with freedom of religion the way that you see it? If you're because the example that you gave.
He said he wants to pass laws, and he's authored bills based upon his religious beliefs.
Have any of them passed?
Thank God, no.
So, what is the danger to you or to anybody else?
A personhood bill was turned down.
Well, let's grant your thesis that that's what he wants to do. Has he been able to do anything like that in Congress for 14 years?
No, thank goodness. No.
Now where does this compare, this issue, for why you are voting for Obama?
That's the prime issue for me, baby.
Abortion?
Abortion. Okay.
It's abortion. It comes under
abortion.
It's
Freedom
church and
of
state.
religion, respect for the Constitution.
What about the devastating economy we have in the past 4 years?
Economy?
What about the
define devastating? I think a devastating economy is the one President Bush left us with.
We have 23. Well,
I promise you, I will not vote for Bush. I will not vote for Bush this time. I promise
his
you.
first
I
name?
promise you, Scott.
Scott,
we
hey,
will
Scott.
not vote for
Yeah.
Bush this time.
And do you hear what we're saying? We're not going to vote for George Bush on November 6th. Okay. All right. So we're not. We're not going to
We're not
vote.
We
gonna
promise
vote
we
for
will
him.
not vote for George Bush on November 6th.
Let's get off the Bush thing. This president.
You're a student of history, Tom. How long did the Great Depression last?
7 years.
Wrong.
How many years?
Okay. And what happened
7
in
years, about 7 years.
1938 when the GOP Congress wouldn't let Roosevelt spend the social program money that he had been spending? Social was really the milk.
Okay. Now we're back to spending taxpayer money to expand the economy.
Spending taxpayer money. Okay, we got
Okay.
it.
You know what happened in 38?
Yes, I do.
Yes, we do.
Adolf Hitler.
Yeah,
Adolf Hitler
we're
was.
focused on Munich in 38.
You know what? I mean, come on.
Adolf Hitler.
The economy nosedive.
Adolf Hitler was.
Why is England's economy nosediving now? They've cut taxes, they've cut government spending, laid off millions of people.
Okay.
Why is it nosediving?
Okay.
So that's what Romney's recommending.
Okay, then this is perfect. We have Scott, who's a talk show host right here in the same studio, not too far away. His reasons for not voting for Romney and for voting for President Obama: abortion based upon separation.
I didn't say abortion.
Separation.
I said freedom of religion. Don't put words in my mouth.
Yeah, but you're the
But
one
the
who.
example you gave as freedom of religion
there's
was abortion.
Yeah, there's.
No, abortion has nothing to do with religion.
We can play back
hold
the
on.
tape
Hold
for
on,
you
we
if
play
you
back
want.
the tape for you. That's what's exactly
All right,
what you said.
Let me.
Look at the Jewish bills, Tom.
Let me get
If
some
we said
control.
to you,
Okay.
if you couldn't work on Saturday, you couldn't handle money, you couldn't turn on a switch. Would you be happy with that?
I didn't hear everything you said, but the thing I'm telling
Yeah,
Scott.
we're going to have to wrap up this
Wait.
show because I have to get home and light candles, okay? So we're going to...
Let's.
But if you're going to talk over me, then I'll just hang up.
Well, you have
No,
to
no,
let us
no.
stop here, Scott. Hold on.
Tell me.
We don't want Scott to hang up. We don't want you to get mad at us.
I have a question for the lady. I don't know her name.
Her name is
You weren't
CJ.
introduced.
CJ.
If there was a Jewish majority and we passed a law which says from sundown on Friday to sundown on Saturday, you can't handle money, you can't work, you can't drive a car, you can't turn off switches.
Yeah, you have to have pre-perforated toilet
How
paper.
would you feel about that?
That's called Sharia law, is what you're talking about.
Yeah.
No, that's... In this country... Well, Scott, are you going to let me answer you?
No,
You don't want to let me answer you? You asked me a
Okay.
question and you don't want me to
Okay.
answer?
I'll be the referee. Scott, let the lady speak. Scott, let the lady.
Address the other person who said it's called Sharia.
No.
It's really nasty.
No, it's 3 against 1, Scott. So I'm gonna have to take your side. So, all right, Mark, you stay out of it.
I need all the help I can get.
Okay. CJ, you answered. Then we got to let Scott go because
education. Come on.
we got to get to the next.
Okay, my answer to you, Scott, is this. In this country, we do have freedom of religion, and we are free to be Orthodox practicing Jews if we choose to be, and we are also free not to be Orthodox practicing Jews if we choose to be those kind. We can go to shul by our cars, which we lock when we leave them. And we can also choose not to go to shul if we choose. And we can choose to walk to the synagogue if we want to. And we can choose to leave our ovens turned on warm for 25 hours if that's how we choose to do it. But nobody is telling us that we have to do it. Nobody is advocating for a government which will tell us that we have to do it. In fact, what we advocate here is not to have a government dictating our religious practices to us the way they have them in the Middle East, in places where they are governed by the Sharia.
Okay, but Representative Ryan has said on Fox News that due to his religious beliefs, he wants to impose those on everyone in the United States. He doesn't believe in the separation of church and state. I would never vote for putting that man a heartbeat to the presidency.
And you're free not to.
Okay, now, Mark, hang on. I'm the referee. Tom Trento's the referee. It's my show. I'm the referee here.
He wants to make sure that we
All right,
don't
Mark,
talk about the
Scott,
discussion on Iran.
Scott, we're going to do that. Yeah, we're going to have to include it because we have to. But, Mark, you got one thing, and Scott, we'll let you have the last word.
Right.
Go ahead, Mark.
All right. Abortion is not a religious issue. If he wants to make it a religious issue, that is his choice to make a religious issue, but it is not a religious issue. So you're saying that since he supports abortion, therefore he's advocating for the integration of church and state. Well, that's what Scott, hold on, Scott, hold on, just a minute. That's what you said earlier.
His religion requires him to act this way. That's what I'm against. His religious belief. I mean, it's plainly clear.
Is abortion a religious issue? Is abortion a religious issue? Yes or no?
Is abortion? No.
Okay, then
Okay, let's do this.
That's fine.
No, Scott, thank you definitely
Thank you
for calling because
absolutely.
he's ready.
For me, it's not a religious issue, but
for you, but for him it is.
Scott is articulating the thinking of many people on the left, and we'll address it in the days to come because I think it does need to be addressed. Scott, thanks for calling.
Can I answer your question?
Yes.
Who's winning the presidential election?
Who's winning?
Who's going to win or who's winning?
It's over, Scott.
Scott, you lost already. Don't worry about it.
It's over,
Don't worry
Scott.
about it. Just go,
yeah.
No big deal, but we'll
still talk.
273 to 262.
Scott, it's over, and you can still be our friend on the 7th. No problem. All right, we'll see you, man.
All right,
take it easy.
I love the show. I never miss it.
All right,
great.
Thanks a lot.
Call on again.
All right, take care. Bye-bye.
Thanks for calling, buddy.
Trump's religious beliefs.
All right.
Thank you.
Bye-bye,
All right,
Scott.
Okay, thanks, Scott.
Thank you all.
All right, take it easy. The glass building over there is shaking. Look at that glass building over there. The glass panels are shaking in the wind. It is getting a little windy here, folks.
It's getting very stormy.
And we had a little windy Scott on there with us for a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
Scott's a nice guy. I mean, but you were starting to deconstruct his position.
Right.
I mean, people come to abortion for religious reasons, for ethical reasons, for scientific reasons, in a million different ways. And CJ made a good point because the country's 236 years old. I used to open first grade or whatever it was in a public school in New Jersey reading Psalm 23. The Lord is my shepherd, thou shalt not want.
Did you really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And in 1963 or whatever it was, Madeleine Mary O'Hare, who refused to debate me one time, she and I were supposed to debate, through the Supreme Court, got prayer thrown out of public schools. So this country has dealt with the separation of church and state, and it's dealt with it on the abortion issue. The abortion issue on January 22nd, 1973, was codified into the Constitution in Roe v. Wade, Roe versus Wade. And since then, This country has fought 40 years, whatever it is, and abortion is the law of the land.
But that was not on a religious basis.
Not
that
at
was
all.
No, the question was not abortion per se. The question was a right to privacy.
Found in the penumbra, the 7 justices said. Found in
Yeah.
the penumbra. You know what penumbra is?
No, Go ahead, Tom, tell us.
The shadows of the words in the Constitution. They couldn't find the right to privacy for abortion in the Constitution, so they said it was in the penumbra. It's somewhere there,
They just didn't say
literally,
it.
but we don't
We
know
can
where
feel
it
it,
is.
we just can't see it.
Exactly. And that right to privacy
Yeah.
then superseded 50 state laws. But in any event, and that issue is never going away because scientifically some people follow the science of a human being conceived and real and needs protection. But we need to get to Iran. No more abortion stuff.
I just want to make this clear. You know, there's some people who have looked past the issue of abortion. My wife, for one of them. I mean, my wife's a Democrat, and she's women's choice. She's very adamant about that. But she goes, "Oh my God, how can this be your main issue when all this other stuff is going on? The economy's going in the toilet. The people who are truly, if you're a Democrat, you look at these people who are coming over here who want to kill homosexuals, who are also
I know. It's
all
a
that
good
stuff.
point.
So
It's
you
a
got to
good
get
point.
over that issue, guys.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, it's like I asked Scott. I said, "Are you more worried about the right to abortion than you are about Iran having nuclear capabilities? What's a bigger threat to your life?
He made our point. If anybody's watching this show,
What's the bigger threat? My gosh."
if anybody's watching this show and you see we try to take a very analytic approach to these issues, and people on the left, they jump on something and then he's going all over the place. Now, it would have been interesting radio to deconstruct his position and go back and forth, but we want to get to Iran is what we want to get to.
Except for I'm looking at the time here, and I have to ask you really
can sum
quick
it up.
because we do have Lipstick Pundit on the phone.
Oh, is the Lipstick
Yes,
Pundit
and
here?
she has some very interesting updates for us for Activist Friday and some very important information that voters need to know, and I think we need to have.
Why don't you bring her on?
Ruth Roman, Lipstick Pundit, are you there?
Hi, I'm here. Can you
Hi,
hear
thanks
me?
for calling in. Yeah, you sound great.
Okay, terrific. I want to report that the 20 counties in Central Florida, citizens received letters questioning their citizenship. And they were instructed to report to the supervisor elections office where they live. We've now found out that this was a bogus letter. These letters were sent out. The 20 counties were central counties in Florida, specifically one county, Orange County, which is a Democrat bastion. Now the Justice Department and the FBI are investigating this because it's considered a third-degree felony.
Wow. Now, are these going out to Republican registered voters? So Republican registered voters in 20 counties in Central Florida are getting bogus letters telling them that they have to report to the supervisor of elections in their county and prove their citizenship before they can vote?
Do you happen to have one with you that you can read some of it?
No, I don't, but I did send you the website, and there is a video on the website, and they expose the letters that were received. And I do have the numbers of the supervisor of elections for Broward, Miami-Dade, and Palm Beach, if anybody wants those numbers, because this is fraudulent, and I think they probably have targeted seniors. I can't verify that, though, but they are targeting Republicans, perhaps to discourage them from voting.
Oh, my gosh. And have you seen or heard of anything like this happening before, Ruth?
Well, yes. I know it happened to me in Chicago. When
Chicago!
I'm from Chicago, and believe it or not, I was an independent Democrat in Chicago, and I was working against the non-incumbent. And so when it came time for me to vote, I produced my driver's license and my voter ID, and I also lived in a polling building, and they would not let me vote. They took my name off the list.
Wow.
Wow.
And I think they took my name off the list because I was not working for their machine person.
So what did you do?
Well, I asked the precinct captain, who was grinning, I'd asked him what I would have to do to prove that I live where I live, even though I had all my identification on me. And he said I had to go to City Hall to get a certified affidavit to prove where I live.
Even though everybody already knew you lived in the building and you had a driver's license and a voter ID.
And my name was on the directory.
And your name was on the mailbox of the building.
Yes. Yes.
And now you're seeing it in Florida.
Yeah. So I went down to City Hall and I did get my certified affidavit, and I did vote, and my person did win. So
awesome.
We have to be citizen activists, and we can't take the sitting down. We have to fight it.
And also be aware, too, that there's a letter going around telling you to go to a polling place that's not yours. Just as it's more that just, dirty, underhanded type of stuff that's going to be happening throughout this whole election cycle.
Well, we have to stay on top of it, though, and be able to tell people to be on the lookout for it.
Yeah, so, Ruth, what should the average person do?
Well, question everything, especially if there's anything that challenges your right to vote. I think you have to really question it. And, of course, contact your Board of Election supervisor, but don't take anything sitting down because, there is probably going to be voter intimidation this election cycle because it's so important. I think we have to all be very vigilant.
Absolutely. No argument
Sounds
there.
good to me.
Yeah, that sounds good.
All right.
Ruth, you've also been doing a lot of polling in the evenings, haven't you? You want to tell us about how that's going?
Yes, I've been studying the polling, and it's very exciting. Right now, the polling persons are polling people throughout Florida. And these are people who are independents or undecided.
Okay.
And about 2 months ago, it was probably half and half Obama, half Romney. And now, since that first debate, I think, really turned things around, there's been a tremendous acceleration. And now the polling is indicating it's about 30 Romneys to every Obama.
So
30 to
30 to 1 on the independent?
30 to 1. 30 to 1. And this is throughout Florida. Everybody's polling independents and undecided. And this has been very consistent for the past 2 weeks. We haven't seen a fluctuation. And most of the polling people are all, their samples have been the same.
Oh, my goodness.
And that is pretty amazing.
That is really amazing.
Is there any leading questions or anything like that? Or is there any questioning before, or is it just...
Yes, there are questions. This organization has had some specific questions related to their values and such. And the voters have been very responsive. And one thing I think is very interesting that I must point out is the voters that are going for Romney are very angry with Obama. They're mad, they're angry, they can't wait to get out and vote. In fact, one person mentioned he wanted to vote twice if he could because he just wants to get him out.
Well,
so these aren't voters.
Tell him not to do it.
Hey, listen to this.
Voters are not going to be turned, I think, with advertising at this point. I think they really have their minds made up.
Okay. What are they angry about?
The economy. Just they feel betrayed. They really feel betrayed.
It's a trust factor.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. Your website is lipstickpundit.com?
It's at lipstickpundit at wordpress.com.
At wordpress.com. And what
you follow me.
You're also tweeting, right?
Yes, my Twitter is lipstickpundit at lipstickpundit1. You can follow me on Twitter.
Okay. Sounds great.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for checking in.
I also want to point out one thing that follow is this Project Veritas that Mr. O'Keefe's been in charge of. He did find out that the regional field director for Organizing America, which is a Obama minion, they've been found promoting voter fraud. And this has been exposed. You can go to their website and they discuss this. And they're trying to challenge these things, but they're having a hard time. But there is indication that there is voter fraud, and they've been indirectly encouraging this.
Well, there's donation fraud, too.
Right.
Yeah, that's Project Veritas. We will have James O'Keefe, the founder and president of Project Veritas, on next week. We're working on that right now. So we will have the horse Skyped in or audio in or whatever to tell us exactly what's going on. Hey, Lipstick Lady, thank you very much. Any concluding thoughts? Got about 30 seconds.
No, she covers it. She's great.
She got it.
All right, you take care. Bye-bye.
Take care
Thank
now. Have a
you.
good day. All right.
All right,
bye.
we're 9 minutes to the top of the hour. We got 4 or 5 minutes left in our 3-hour show. Man, that went quickly, didn't it?
Yeah,
That
it
went very
did.
quickly.
Yeah.
Alan B. on
Yeah.
the line. Let's take Alan very, very quickly because I want to read something here. Alan, yes, what's up?
Well, you know, this Scott, the guy you had on,
Yes.
why don't you ask him, since he's such a vociferous, ardent Democrat, why doesn't he debate us in the next week? Why don't you put out a call to him
Because
on
we
your
have so
radio
much
show,
time.
TV show?
Because we have nothing to do.
And give us his name and what have you, and we could arrange a debate where he could debate us in the last waning 2-minute warning time for the
In a 2-minute, You know, I don't know. I can do that. I don't know if he has any status. You know, if he has any position anywhere.
crap. Look at the and wipe him out. He's a typical Democrat.
Hey, we're heavyweights, Alan. We're gonna knock out an amateur guy. I mean, you know.
Bring LeBron up against somebody.
All right, Scott, you're listening. I'm sure you're listening, Scott. Alan Bergstein and myself have been debating liberals. If you want to find somebody, we'll do it right here in the studio. How about that? We'll kill 2 birds with 1 stone. How about that, Alan? We'll do it right
no
here.
bird killing here.
Oh, okay.
Can I say a parting word?
Yes, you may.
You know, since Obama is his hero, I personally listen to Scott, and I think using Obama, I think Scott is a bullshitter, and I think we could.
I don't think you can say that word.
Yeah, you can't say that word. No, you can't say it yet.
He got you.
He got you.
got
He's
him.
acting.
Yeah.
He's acting.
Okay.
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 I could say it. I can't. Have a nice weekend. Tom.
Okay,
Thank
thanks.
you guys.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Okay, that was Alan. Let me read this to you guys, to CJ and Mark. Just got an email. Dear Tom, I just had to drop you a line to tell you how much I'm enjoying your daily show on the net. Comes on between 8 p.m. and 11 here in the UK.
Oh my gosh.
And I can honestly say I've abandoned the TV and am completely addicted. You have great guests, too. We're living in a very dangerous times, and I hope and pray that Romney wins on November 6th. Obama's an anti-American Muslim who's aligned to the Muslim Brotherhood. A lot of people believe that. If he has a further 4 years in the White House, he will bring your country, which I've visited many times, down to the status of a third world banana republic. Keep up the good work. God bless you. Sincerely, signs their name. It's a woman. If I may be bold, Tom, not only are you articulate, but you're a very good-looking guy, too.
I think she's talking about me.
No, you're a disembodied voice. You don't have a body. Hi, I won't say your name on the air, but hello in the UK. Hey, what are you doing later on? Hey, I'm spoken for, I think.
he had to write an incident report.
No. This show is going to create a lot of incidents, I think, down the road, particularly if we bring Scott in to debate him. But look, the 3 hours have flown by.
Yes.
We never got to Iran because of Scott.
Well, you know what? I tell you what. On Monday, what we're going to do is when we talk, we're going to talk about foreign policy on Monday. We're going to talk about Benghazi. It ties in together. I think Iran has its little fingers in what happened in Benghazi.
Let's piece that together. That'd be very
let's
good.
piece that together.
There are 30 seconds.
I have 30 seconds. I'm going to answer Scott with our little favorite quote from the Sun Sentinel. Okay, and they say, Obama inspired us with a promise of hope and change. Now, 4 years later, we have little reason to believe he can turn things around. So while we endorsed Obama in 2008, we recommend voters choose Mitt Romney, November 6, 2012. That's for you, Scott. Thank you.
All right. Right between the eyes, Scotty. No, we like Scott.
Yeah,
we
who
like
is
Scott.
it who does that? The Stooges?
Yeah, the Stooges.
Los Stooges.
So, but look, ladies and gentlemen, Tom Trento, J. Mark, CJ here on WNN 1470. It's Friday the 26th. Everybody looking at Sandy the storm, please be very careful. Take it from the pros, those of you in the Northeast. This thing is very serious, very dangerous. Do not play games driving. Do not go near down wires. Listen to your news reports. People are going to die in the Northeast from this storm. Please do not be one of those. Tune in with us. You can go to our TrentoVision.tv. We archive all of these shows. You can listen to it there. We're on now weekdays live out of Boca Raton, Florida, 3 o'clock to 6 o'clock. But if you're in the UK, it's 8 o'clock to 11 o'clock there, matey. And have a glass of tea for us.
What kind of accent was that?
I don't know.
The pirate UK
That was
accent.
my pirate. My pirate. We will leave.
Hardee's.
We will leave all of you. We'll leave all of you on my pirate accent. See you guys.
Okay.
We're out of here. Goodbye.
Thanks for tuning in to Trento Vision, where bad ideas get pulverized and the truth will set you free. Your host, Tom Trento, is an activist street fighter with earned degrees in law enforcement, theology, and philosophy. To reach